You alright guys, how's it going? It is David Claydon from KZR Racing once again, and welcome back at long last to my F1 Manager 22 career mode for round number 16 today at the Italian Grand Prix. Now, going into a bit of a disclaimer here, there is no last episode. You may be wondering what happened to round 15 at Zandvoort. Long story of the short of it, after doing all the editing process and the rendering and so on, I went to upload the video, and for some reason the actual footage of the gameplay corrupted either during the rendering process or the uploading process, because when I tried to redo the video and make a new file to edit, there was no video of the gameplay. It still had the audio and still had my voice audio, but for whatever reason, the actual gameplay footage corrupted. So, unfortunately, there is no round number 15 at Zandvoort. First time I tried it, I get no luck in the game. Now I get no luck in the editing in real life. So, I guess this is probably going to be one of our cursed Grand Prix, no matter what we do. I will give you a quick rundown of what happened at Zandvoort, if I'm able to bring up the previous previous race, historic results. So 2023 car start, right, previous race results. So long story short, we got another good team result. Gasly finished in P4 with Sebastian Vettel in P7. So right at the start of the race, right at the very start of the race, George Russell ended up crashing into his teammates, sending both Mercedes to the back of the field. And it was set to be a one-stop, with Gasly racing against the McLarens, Ocon and Bottas at the time, with Alonso being a little bit further back. But after the first round of stops, with Alonso making an earlier stop, he caught up to his teammate and ended up in the battle as well. But then about 5 or 6 laps after that first round of stops, the safety car came out, and that allowed me to pick Gasly in, which only dropped him back a couple of places, because the group he was in, from 4th to 8th, I believe it was, had all broken away from the rest of the field. So I was able to bring him in from where he was, and he was about 9th or 10th on the grid, with Sebastian in 13th. And on a fresh set of medium tyres, he was able to storm his way up to P4 ahead of everyone else. On that safety car restart, though, we had the Mercedes, who were back markers in the middle of all of us, and that originally allowed both the Alpines to get away from us. And Vettel got an absolute blinder of a restart, because he proceeded to overtake Gasly at one point and get up into 7th, where he ended up finishing. And he managed to keep hold of that position. The Alpines fell back because they spent so long on their hard tyres as opposed to Sebastian. And of course, Gasly, being on a fresh set of mediums compared to those worn hards, was able to get up into P4 ahead of Ocon and Ricciardo, and just power off away into the distance. So, all in all, good race. Definitely in regards to the championship. If I go to... where are the standings at the moment? Oh, yeah, they're back on the main page. So, yeah, in the standings, as you can see, we're only actually 25 points behind Mercedes at the moment because of their double DNF. So, Mercedes need to be a little bit more careful if they want to avoid ending up losing that to us if we keep having good, consistent results. But we also managed to maintain and increase our lead over Alpine and McLaren in the constructors, which is realistically, that's what we're after at the moment, because Mercedes are still a little bit too good for our car at the minute. But we will be able to but we are in a position with both drivers now to capitalise on any problems should they come our way. But yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of what happened in Zandvoort. I apologise for the inconvenience of what happened, but the video corrupting was completely out of my control. I tried resetting everything and refreshing the video, but it just wouldn't work. So I had to let that go, unfortunately. So no Zandvoort, but in we're hopefully going to make up with a nice. Hopefully, we're going to make up with a more action-filled race at Monza. So we have some regulation updates coming. This is all the overview of what happened with the Dutch Grand Prix. Apparently, Gasly needs something on his defending. But we have another regulation. We have another regulation vote here for the financial changes. With these goals in mind, we are proposing new financial regulations for 2024. We've noticed that potential for smaller teams to be priced out of the competition, so we propose a lower cost cap to keep all teams on a level playing field. These changes are detailed below, so please respond after you've reviewed them. As always, we ask you for the fairness of the future of Formula One in mind. So they're dropping the cost cap by 5 mil. I don't mind actually voting for this because I don't think, aside from Red Bull and Ferrari, I don't think anyone else has even gotten close to that. So I don't actually mind voting for this regulation change, to be honest. It makes it a whole lot. It makes it a lot more competitive, actually, and hopefully that'll make more exciting races and videos for you guys in the long run. So we also have a development point for Pierre Gasly. Now they said about defending, so we will do that. Then he'll nearly be up to 80 across the board. Then, so do we have one for? We have one for Jack as well. So we'll put another one on his smoothness as well. It's just a case of getting all these bits and pieces for Jack up, because he's on 75 rated. He's not a bad driver, but I need a little bit. I need a little bit more time, just upgrading a few of his stats here and there, and then eventually I may stick him in the car. I may stick him in the car after Sebastian leaves the team or whatever in that regard. So, what about staff? Do they have any development points? Yes, they do. So we will do the chassis for our technical chief, and that's it. So outside of that, I don't think we have anything else. Oh, there is one other thing I will get into, and that is the other thing we did at the start of the last, what would have been round 15 before the Dutch Grand Prix, is we put all of our staff into research for parts next year. So we have the downforce on the rear wing, suspension, we have a bit of downforce and drag reduction as well, and obviously the chassis is drag reduction as well. But I balanced out all the stuff to help with the airflow and cooling as well, because we do suffer with that in low speed and in following other cars and cooling the car and that. So we're balancing out everything. So we have got two more research periods where we can do. So I'm putting a lot of stock into next year from this point on. We are in a good position, and I'm confident that Pierre and Sebastian can still score consistently enough to where we can hold on to this P4. But still, if P4 or P5, it's still a good result in the championship for us, so I can't complain with it. But hopefully, with what I'm doing for next year now, that'll put us in good position for hopefully a top 3 or challenging for race wins and that. I hope. We got to get there yet, but for now, because as you can see, my cost cap balance is still at 68.7 mil. I've hardly even scratched it, even 2/3 of the way into the season. So that bringing the cost cap down to 136, I don't think is going to hurt many of the teams too much, in all honesty. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what the result of that will be. That'll be my research times, and that'll be the okay. So after Italy, we'll have the results for that. So Yeah, so we'll skip ahead. Nothing should come up. So what emails have we got? Yep, just the usual race preps. So review targets, qualifying position Q2, finishing position, we'll do that, and qualifying hot streak and finishing position hot streak. Yeah, right. So without any further ado, I'm going to skip through practice towards the end and see how we do, and hopefully we're in a good position for. Hopefully we get everything all set up ready for the Grand Prix. Okay, that's the end of practice, guys. You can see we've got both guys up the top of the timing screens. We've got good setups for them, especially, as you can see, for one, Pierre Gasly. This is the first time that I've ever gotten 100% setup confidence on one of my drivers, so I'm very happy with that. And Sebastian as well, 95 setup confidence. So we are looking very good for this Grand Prix as well. Especially as you can see with heavy rain as well. So depending on how that goes, if it's going to be the whole race or it comes in halfway through, we could have another potentially good result if we manage to get it right. So I'm going to do all the usual bits and pieces for qualifying, and hopefully we can get both guys into a reasonable position for the race coming up. Okay, not looking good, guys. Again, at the end of Q2, I don't think we're going to improve from where we are on this second lap in Q2 because Verstappen ended up locking up into turn 1, and that made us significantly slower than what we were in the first sector. And yeah, no one in that whole thing improved because of Verstappen's lock-up. So Vettel got knocked out in P17 in Q1, and now Gasly is down here in Q2. So we never made either of our... we made none of our qualifying goals. So we made none of our qualifying goals because of Max Verstappen being a total moron. Right. Well, considering where we're starting, which is 15th and 17th, you know what? These need changing anyway. So what I'm going to do is we're starting at the back anyway. We're starting at the back anyway at Monza, so we are going to take a whole load. We're going to take a fresh ERS, we're going to take a fresh gearbox, and we're going to take a fresh engine, because why not? There's no reason not to. We're both down the back anyway. So there's no reason not to. We're also starting on dry tyres as well, so we might as well take advantage of this. Brim the tank. There, driving options, we're going to go aggressive, full usage, and deploy off the start. And then we will do the same with Gasly. So, new engine, put that in. New ERS, put that in. And a new gearbox as well, and we'll put that in. So install on car 2. So we're going to start at the back of the grid, but that's we might as well just take the hit. We had a bad qualifying, so we may as well just take the hit at a track where we know we're going to be able to get the overtaking done. So when is that rain coming? So it's coming lap 15, that looks like. Right. We're going to do this one. Right. No, we're not doing that. we're going to do this one stop here. But since I know the rain's coming, I'm just going to push them as hard as possible on the mediums and get as many positions as possible. We can afford to do that on the harder compounded tyres, so why not? So we will take that. Driver options are all good. Yep, so let's go to the grid for the Italian Grand Prix.
Don't want to tempt fate, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. There we have Pierre Gasly. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. And for the second driver, it's Sebastian Vettel. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. The race start is mere seconds away. Here we go.
There's the green flag at the back. 5 red lights to the Italian Grand Prix. And we are away. So let's get both of them onto attack. Vettel's already on the move. Gasly's stuck at the back of the field, unfortunately. So putting straight back to aggressive. And neutral on deployment. And the same thing with Sebastian. So here's Sebastian. Oh no, it's Sebastian at the back of the grid. Gasly's made his way up the field into P17 ahead of Tsunoda and Hulkenberg. So it's a good start from Pierre. He's gone defensive to make sure the Williams doesn't get round him. But he's on all-out attack. And he's got plenty of fuel to burn. And he's already making a move on Magnussen now. Stroll's gone wide already as well. Good job. So now, Gasly making moves still. He's got past Magnussen. Now he's already looking at the back of Mick Schumacher.
Aston Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
We'll watch this move from Gasly into the Lesmos. Just dived it straight down the inside. And up into what is P15, I believe. P15 or P16. It is P16, but he's on the back of the Williams and Stroll as well, who went off. So Gasly doing all right on his end. And we got Sebastian, who's unfortunately stuck back here with Hulkenberg. Not quite finding a way through there. He needs to get past Hulkenberg now to mitigate any damage that's being done here. So I need him to get a move on. Fakes to the left, goes to the right. I need you to make the dive, Sebastian, into turn 1. And he does, and oh! Unfortunately, the game glitching has just cost Sebastian yet again. So we've reverted back to Sebastian Vettel's luck before his decent run. Which is, of course, always an issue. So now he's on. Can we get him to make a dive into the second chicane? He has a look. He's unfortunately on the outside for the next few corners. But he has, I believe, got around the outside of Hulkenberg. He's still there and finally gets round him. So that's one less car that Sebastian has to worry about now. And now we've got Gasly, who's unfortunately still staring the back of Schumacher. As the rest of the field, as you can see on the map, has started pulling away from him. So I need Gasly to start getting past these guys here. He's not going to get DRS here, unfortunately, because it's only just at the start of this lap. But I am going to get him on overtake and attack on the tyres. See if we can get him
overtake.
On the move, which is not going to happen here, unfortunately. Unless, no. And Stroll's got up and gone straight on again. And that has allowed Gasly, who went round the outside of Schumacher, has gained 2 places there. So you can see Stroll locked up. Schumacher got in behind him, but Stroll locked up. And that just allowed Gasly to just swoop round the outside of Schumacher. So now he's up with a P14. That's ideal. That's very ideal for what we need. And in the meantime, Vettel is slowly crept up to the back of the Williams cars. So hopefully, as we go through here, get him on overtake and attack, he'll have DRS, whereas the Williams of Tsunoda ahead will not. And there goes Sebastian down the inside, and he's up a place as well. Gasly trying to hold off Schumacher, but ideally I need him to ditch that Williams and get up to the Mercedes ahead. It's what I ideally need him to do. Meanwhile, Sebastian, as he's going to be susceptible to Tsunoda behind him again, because he's unfortunately still just out of range of Magnussen's DRS. And, yep, there's the annoyance of a slipstream fest, is that this is going to happen constantly.
And there's an overtake from Williams.
So, yeah, I kind of need Gasly to get past Schumacher and then ideally just ditch him and get onto the back of the Merc ahead of Hamilton. It's not going to be easy, I know, but so overtake, attack. He's going to be right on the back of the Williams out of this corner. Of course, Schumacher's going to block, but Gasly, there we go, cruises up and past the Williams back in the P14. He's also got a little bit of breathing room to work with as well, which is ideal.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
And the annoying part for Vettel is he's currently fighting Tsunoda. He gets back ahead of him, which is ideal. Around the outside, he should be in... he is in the range of Magnussen's DRS, so the rear wing should open. There we go. We just need Sebastian to catch up to Magnussen. Make this a little bit easier to defend from Tsunoda as well. The thing is, Magnussen's having a shocker. He's already dropped 2.5 away from Schumacher, who's currently having a fight with Gasly, which is not the situation I really want to be in. I need Gasly to get a bit of a move on here. He's going to defend through here.
Defend.
Down this straight. Hamilton's got past Bottas, so hopefully, if we can catch up, if that group fight enough, we can catch up to them. That'll be the ideal scenario, but it's not looking good, unfortunately, on this front. So I'm going to step away a little bit as Vettel's overtaken Magnussen.
Let's have a look here. This was the Aston Martin.
And there goes Vettel. Easy as you like, overtake with DRS down towards Ascari. But I think ideally what I'm going to need to do, guys, is I'm going to take the step away until that rain comes, which, as you can see, is going to be around about lap 15 or 16. And see where we can go from there with the tyre front. A lot of people have started on the mediums as opposed to the few on softs, but I suppose they're taking the gamble with the tyre wear when the rain's coming. So I'll take a step away and then we'll see what the rain, see what happens when the rain gets here. Oh, we have a VSC out. Something's happened.
Virtual safety cars.
No, we're not coming in. So something happened. I don't know what. There's a penalty for Guan Yu Zhou. Has anything happened to him? Has he hit someone? No. Can we get a replay at all of... He's slowed up the field. He's brought Ocon and Bottas back towards Gasly. And Vettel's also caught up to the pack as well. So it's actually narrowed the field down quite a bit for us. But there's a penalty for Zhou. There's nothing wrong with Ocon that I've seen. Did he hit anyone else? There's nothing on Ricciardo or Hamilton. Those were the two guys that were originally around him. No damage to Ocon's car. There's no damage to Bottas's car. That's a weird one. That is a weird one. The virtual safety car's just come to an end now. Gasly's already hooked onto the back of Bottas, and now Sebastian is all over his young protege, Mick Schumacher, who's already dropped out of DRS range, so I'm going to take full advantage of this one. Let's get him on the move. So Sebastian, he's going to get DRS. There's the rear wing. Flips open. Schumacher, of course, does not have DRS. So Sebastian is going to power past and gains another position. So we've done pretty well in 10 laps to get to where we are now. We're just on the fringes of the top 10. Gasly P14. P15 for Sebastian. It's Zhou who's in P11, who's a ways behind Ricciardo. But don't forget that rain is going to be coming in 6 or 7 laps' time. So we're in this train here with Zhou. So let's see where this leads up to the rain period. Okay, the rain has started, and everyone's already just crossed the line, so I'm not going to get any advantage out of doing what I want to do. And the rain is going up quite a lot. As the rain is going up quite a fair bit as well.
This is good, come on.
So we're still attacking. So now, yeah, with the amount of rain that's falling, and as you can see on the indicator, I'm going to skip the formalities on this one. I'm going to have to double stack both of them. I haven't really got much of a choice in this matter. So, Gasly, you're going to come in and you're going to go straight onto the full wets. Pit this lap. And we're going to do with the same with Sebastian. No, wrong one. Pit options, full wet tyres, confirm. Pit this lap. And then what I'm going to have to do with Sebastian is I'm going to hold back the cars behind and leave him on what he's on now. So this doesn't end up slowing either of us down. Track's getting damp, but it is going to go straight to full wet tyres. So let's skip through. Vettel's going to get held up a little bit in the pit lane, but there's not really much we can do about that. Everyone should be coming in. Well, some of them have come in. Some of them have come in. I don't think Leclerc, Perez and Russell have not come in, so they obviously didn't want a double stack, but I think the double stack realistically is the better option. So in goes Gasly. He goes out. Vettel. He goes in straight out as well. He gets ahead of the Williams, but he's got ahead of a few of the guys, actually. Bottas has dropped right back. Bottas has dropped into the middle of nowhere there in his pit stop. So now we've just got to see where everyone else comes out, because there are a few guys who still haven't stopped. Hulkenberg, Schumacher, Ocon, Joe. Ocon and Joe are where we were. So these guys need to stop. So we should come up near where they are, and that's going to back up everyone else.
Copy.
You got Ricardo is technically the next car up from where Gasly is, so we'll have to see. As we skip ahead. Yep, here comes everyone else that are into the pits now. And Gasly's up into P11, and Vettel is P13. Vettel's P13 directly behind Lance Stroll. And everyone's done the same thing what we've done, is gone straight onto the wet tyres. Whereas Tsunoda's gone onto the intermediate, so he's going to be pitting again. The wet tyres were definitely the right call considering how quick that rain was going to come down. So Gasly is only 1.3 behind Russell, so he's made up a ton of time in these conditions so far. Meanwhile, Sebastian, he's directly behind Stroll. I want to get him to make a move while he's this close. Obviously, the wet conditions may hamper that a little bit. Yeah, he's just going to pull straight back in and not make any moves. But then again, Stroll has locked up quite frequently, so that's all well and good and everything. Tsunoda has pitted again, as I thought he would do, back onto a set of wet tyres. So now, where we are now, not a lot may happen during this stint, guys, because it's the wet tyre period and very, very few moves usually happen in the wet. So I'm going to let these guys carry on as they are for a little bit. I will put them onto standard with their tyre wear so they're not burning them out a little bit later on. But then depending on, or I might keep them going because the rain should lighten up. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but I'll skip through until that lighter rain period, or if anything else changes. Okay, guys, I've just stopped here because a whole load of guys have started coming on lap 30, and the rain has started easing off. So I'm wondering if they're going on to inters. If they're going to go on to the inters now. If they are, I'm going to do the gamble with Sebastian because he's further down. So I'm going to bring him in and put him onto the inters. So yeah, they're all going onto the green walls. All these guys here, they're all on the green wall tyres. So right, Gasly's now coming in. So I'm going to put him on attack and have him go for it this lap. And then I'm going to bring him in on the next lap to go onto the inters as well. Tsunoda's locked up a second time. Sebastian's now in. And we get slowed up by two cars coming in, and that's just going to allow Stroll to get away from us. Thank you, Bottas and Magnussen. Thank you. Just make poor Sebastian's life even more harder than it needs to be. He's now dropped out of DRS range whenever that comes back to us. So another tire's getting warm, Pierre, but you're coming in anyway. So let's push you ahead. You're now in. No problems there. All these guys are going to go back past you again, but well, except Perez is going to be coming. Perez has got to come in at some point. So out comes Gasly in. He's a lot closer to Ricciardo now. So, and he's ahead of Russell. So that's actually worked out well for Pierre, going longer. And he's with Ricciardo now. So hopefully, when the DRS comes back, that'll be a good sign for him. Meanwhile, Sebastian has dropped away from Lance Stroll, which is not what I needed, thanks to Magnussen and Bottas pitting in. So I need Sebastian I'm going to put him on attack because we're not going to have a lot of this rain period left.
Copy.
So I'm going to put him on attack. I think Gasly's still on attack as well, so I'll leave that to those guys. I'm hoping Perez pits in to at least give us one position. Because Gasly, even on attack, is dropping away from Ricciardo. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good, guys, if I'm honest. So we'll go ahead. We'll go further ahead and see what else we can do later. Okay, we're coming up to end of lap 40 or 39. Sorry, onto 40. Gasly has managed to reel in Ricciardo primarily because I've left him on attack and Sebastian on attack to try and keep pace with them. With the lack of rain, has made it a little bit easier. Gasly's now within a respectable range of Ricciardo, just half a second. Vettel, on the other hand, has completely lost all his pace. I don't know what happened, but he's lost 4.7 seconds to Stroll, as opposed to being right behind him. And now he's got Bottas chasing him down. And I think here Bottas is probably going to go for the move here. Nope, Sebastian cuts him off. But it's just weird. And oh no.
We can take a look now. So this was the Aston Martin.
Just as I say that, Vettel locks up and loses 2 places.
Oh, big lock up there.
So yeah, I think Vettel's race is pretty much done at this point. So I'm just going to leave him to do what to just bring the car home. Gasly, meanwhile, hopefully we can get a bit of a dry stint at the end. I don't know, but he's so close. He's so close to these guys, but he's just not. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. And just to compound Vettel's misery, he's spun at the Della Roggia.
Let's have a look. Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel. They lose it there. That's
if it wasn't the end of Vettel's race before, it certainly is now, because he's dropped to P17. So I'm not sure there's a setting where we can just retire the car or whatnot, but I'm pretty certain there isn't. So yeah, I'm just gonna let Vettel trundle round the finish. So there's no. It's coming up to Ascari. The rain is slowly dissipating. We'll try one last. We'll see if we can do one last trick with Sebastian. We'll bring him in, throw on a set of fresh softs, and see if he can make up any time. If anyone pits, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm not holding too much hope because the rain's taking a while to go, so we'll have to see. Okay, Vettel's come in and it's just gone to dry track conditions. None of these guys have pits, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't think any of them are going to pit. It's too late in the race for that, but we'll have to see. But actually, where's Gasly in relation to everyone else? There's Perez. There's Russell. We're not really losing anything because it's only Alonso who's scoring. We might as well try it with Gasly as well. We're not losing anything in this race. I mean, we haven't really had the pace this race, so it's worth a try. So let's get let's get Gasly in and see what he can do. Stroll's coming. Oh, everyone else behind has come in. Verstappen's coming in. He may as well have, because he's like miles up the road compared to everyone else. So Vettel has, well, he's at least caught up to Magnussen. So, but this is going to be the real litmus test. Where's Gasly going to come out in relation to all these guys? He's going to come out in P7, 6. He's come out P6 and he's gotten ahead of Alonso. So, okay. The gamble actually paid off. And we're going to get another position because Perez, just ahead, he's on intermediates. So Gasly has gone from tail end of the points to the mid points, and he's got ahead of the only point scoring Alpine as well. So that is an added bonus. And we're also right on the back of one of the Ferraris. And Vettel's locked up again. Vettel has had an absolute stinker this race. Vettel's had an absolute stinker, so I'll let him just finish the race. Meanwhile, Gasly is actually challenging Leclerc for what will be P4 because Perez has just come in. So I basically, I'm just going to put Sebastian down on where he needs to go because he's just conserving. And here comes Gasly, and he gets just, and he does. He's cleared Leclerc, and he's in P4, ahead of the Ferrari. So this is gone from just scraping the points we need to a potential good point scoring race for Gasly. This one, starting from second to last on the grid as well. So this will be a great drive for Gasly. Meanwhile, in no man's land, the McLaren of Lando Norris is going to secure his podium this year, his first one this season. And then Sainz, and then unchallenged at the front is Max Verstappen, who has made this Italian Grand Prix his own. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz is worrying about Williams trying to unlap itself from behind. And then here's Norris. Leclerc has just re-overtaken Gasly. I'm not too worried because we're going to get DRS down the main straight. So, overtake and attack.
Overtake. Okay.
So we're going to go on board with Gasly. This is how draggy our car is. We're not exactly getting the toe that we need, but he's going to pull out and he's going to make the dive down the inside of turn 1. We're going to leave him on overtake to try and get this place booked in, and he does. So Gasly's going to fight Leclerc for this one. Not what Leclerc needs, considering he's got to try and keep his very slim championship hopes alive at this race. But Gasly, low laps remaining. We're going to go on to defend. So if we can protect ourselves from the Ferrari. And we may just about do it here. We're both getting away from Alonso as well. Alonso's not really challenging either of us. So this is at least going to give us a little bit of breathing room. Then in the background, you've got Ricciardo hounding Hamilton. And Russell in the background as well. So all in all, we should be on at least 5th place, hopefully, in this race.
6 to go.
Leclerc's going to pull ahead of us down here. Nothing I can do about that. We're going to pull back in, though, and hopefully get the slipstream towards the end of the race. So I'm going to let these guys slug it out for the last few laps. So I'll come back towards the end. and see what we can do at the end, and hopefully secure a decent position here.
I think someone's run wide.
Okay, we're coming up towards this will be that 52 now. Stroll, a lot of notifications running wide, but as you can see, Alonso has gotten ahead of both me and Leclerc. Leclerc had a bit of a wide moment somewhere, just like Alonso did there, and Gasly stick his nose down the inside of Parabolica. So we're on the penultimate lap now. I think what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go on bounce to try and save some of this fuel.
Save fuel, save fuel. Copy.
I'm going to go on balance to save some of this fuel because I want to save it for the last lap in order to get Alonso right at the end. Leclerc's dropped away from us, so this is a fight for P4 in this race between Gasly and Alonso. The ironic part in here is in real life, Gasly has gone to Gasly is the one who went to Alpine in order to replace Alonso, who went to Aston Martin, and here they are in the exact reverse roles of what they would normally be. So now, Alonso's not going to make the move. He's been clever about this because I'm trying to save the fuel here in order for a last lap fight. So now, while we're down this straight, I'm going to go back on to push to the end. He's got the fuel to do it.
Yeah.
Gasly's got the fuel to do it. Now, I kind of want Alonso to overtake me here. I want him to overtake Gasly, which he's not going to do. He's not going to do it. So I'm wondering if Alonso's going to save himself for the last stint, in which case,
You can push when
dump
you're ready.
everything. We're going to attack, deploy. We're going to throw everything at keeping Gasly ahead of Alonso in this last stint. So we're on the last lap now. Verstappen, he's going to come out of Parabolica to an easy win at the Italian Grand Prix. Right there, as he crosses the line, he takes the win. Sainz second. Norris is in third, but this is the fight we are. Gasly, he's got a little bit of leeway. Half a second to Alonso.
And today's winner.
And Alonso, he comes out of DRS. He's not going to do it.
Check it flag. Check it
Gasly, he holds it through Ascari.
flag. Captain. Copy that. Just take
Maximum fuel, maximum deployment, all-out attack on the tyres, and he looks like he's just about going to hold on. Norris, brilliant drive from him today. He's going to come through and he's going to take his and McLaren's first podium this season. And he's going to be followed in by our man, Pierre Gasly, for a second consecutive fourth place finish, ahead of Alonso and Leclerc.
Job. Take the
So we managed to get ahead of one of the Ferraris there. That definitely was not what I was expecting after all those pit stops. Ricciardo boosts McLaren's Constructors' Championship by getting ahead of Hamilton. So the Mercs were nowhere in this race, 8th and 9th for the Mercs, and Alexander Albon will take the final points position. And absolute disaster race for Vettel. He's had like races where he's only had like one mistake, but multiple lockups, a spin out. Yeah, he just wasn't Sebastian Vettel today, unfortunately, guys. So, as shame as it is, that's not the ideal scenario, but there's the confirmation of the results. Max Verstappen takes another win this year. So, 6th, 7th or 8th victory, I'll have to have a look. Carlos Sainz, second place with the fastest lap for Ferrari. Lando Norris, brilliant drive from him to get on the podium this race. P3 up from where he started in P6, but took places gained. Pierre Gasly started P15 and ended up in he started P15, not P15, sorry, P19. He's gained 15 places and ended up P4. So all in all, Good strategy calls and great driving from Gasly. Definitely more the strategy calls, because our pace was absolutely non-existent this race. But considering how draggy our car is, I should have expected that, really. Alonso P5, Leclerc P6. That's not going to help his championship cause, finishing in P6. Ricciardo gets ahead of the two Mercedes, Hamilton ahead of Russell, and Albon rounding out the top 10 there. So in the Drivers' Championship, we are still no change with the points, except, or positions I should say, up top. Verstappen is now what looks to be 55 points ahead of Leclerc. So that's 2 race wins gap that Charles Leclerc needs to bridge, especially with his teammate catching up to him, Sainz. That is Verstappen's 7th win of the season at Italy. Sainz has closed up to 19 points of his teammate. Perez, no points for him. He doesn't score anything, and that has made him. So Gasly in P5, 151 points. He himself is only 21 points behind Sergio Perez. So any more bad results from Checo, that's going to see Gasly catch up to him. Hamilton 6th, Russell 7th. These guys are really struggling to keep up with Gasly, and Fernando Alonso is not that far behind them either. So Norris, his 3rd place takes him up to 9th, ahead of his teammate Ricciardo. So that's the top 10 of the drivers. As we go into the constructors, again we gain more ground on Alpine, but McLaren, with a result like that, only a few more of them, and they can be right up here for the P4 fight in the championship. So all to play for still, guys. Even at the top as well, Ferrari is still holding on to Red Bull. Both teams with 8 wins apiece, but Red Bull have recently had one driver finishing out the points every race. So, you know, every so often it can change. It can change up the top if need be, but yeah, we lost out on a bit of money on our dealings, because with the sponsors we lost we lost out on the qualifying due to both guys getting knocked out, and our highest position being P15 for Gasly. So that is a bit of a disappointment, but it is all we can do at the moment. So we got the results for the regulation change coming up in regards to the finances next year, and then also just before we get to Singapore as well, we got 2 of our research developments completed, which is for the suspension and the chassis. So hopefully next year we can make that little push up to get into the top 3 teams, and hopefully challenge for race wins more consistently. That's the hope, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Do feel free to leave a like and a comment, and share this video around. It really does help. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of these videos. I'm David Clayton of KZR Racing, and providing we don't have any problems this time, I will see you next time for the Singapore Grand Prix. Goodbye.